rise above, extinguish fear, rise above.
Guys, welcome back to Rise Above. I'm really sorry this video is so late. If you haven't seen episode 1 of the COVID-1984 series, go back and watch it. I detail the manipulated death rates and infection rates from Public Health England and from the CDC. Since that video came out, that's been all over the mainstream media. In episode 2, I detailed the plan of ID 2020, the digital platform of ID for everyone on the planet, how it links in with Agenda 2030 from the UN, also the Gavi max vaccination program, and I talked about the World Health Organization. In this episode, in episode 2, I talked about some of the players as well, Microsoft, the Rockefeller Foundation, Gavi, In this episode, I'm going to try and bring all of this together and show you how this links in with the max vaccination program, how ID 2020 and the vaccine go hand in hand by showing you ID 2020 in action. But before I do that, back to the Rockefeller Foundation. The backing track for this episode, produced by my man Omar Beats, contains snippets from an interview conducted in 2006 where this really famous Hollywood movie producer, Aaron Russo, you can look this up, talks about when he met one of the Rockefellers and they divulged their plan for the human race. 1 year later, he died, 2007. So RIP Aaron Russo. Enjoy it. COVID-1984 Part 3. Rise Above.
How do I put it? It was like, what do you care about them? What do you care about those people? What difference does it make to you? Take care of your own life. Do the best you can for you and your family. What do the rest of the people mean to you? They don't mean anything to you. They're just serfs. They're just people. You know, what's the end goal? The end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society. They want a one-world government controlled by them. Everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of information there, but I might hear you saying, where does this link in with vaccines? For that, I would go back to the World Health Organization's Agenda 2030 immunization plan and scroll down a little bit. It has this very, very interesting chart here. So, strategic priorities. We need to develop a bottom-up cooperation process with close engagement in countries to ensure that the vision, strategic priorities and goals are aligned with the country's needs, etc, etc, etc. And here are some of the core principles. People-focused, country-owned, partnership-based, data-enabled vaccines. So how do you make a data-enabled vaccine? Now I clicked in ID 2020 vaccines and I got up the biometricupdate.com and it says ID 2020 and partners launch a program to provide ID 2020 with vaccines. So here is the link. The ID 2020 Alliance has launched a new digital identity program at its summit in New York in collaboration with the government of Bangladesh and the Vaccine Alliance Gavi, as we've already seen on their own website. The new partners in the government, academia and humanitarian relief. The program to leverage immunisation as an opportunity to establish a digital identity was unveiled by the ID 2020 partnership with the Bangladeshi government's Access to Information A2I program, the Director General of the Health Services and Gavi, according to this announcement. Digital identity is computerized record of who a person is, stored in a registry. It is used in this case to track and who has received a vaccination. So, whatever this format is, it has the ability to track who has had a vaccination. It has a piece of technology in it. So, ID 2020 technology is going to be able to track if you've had a vaccination. It will be delivered via vaccination. You can use it to access government subsidies, healthcare, energy subsidies. Are you seeing where this is going? We are implementing a forward-looking approach to our digital identity that gives the individuals control over their own personal information while building off existing systems and programs. Whoa, I've just come down to this paragraph. This was apparently an Alex Jones conspiracy theory The City of Austin, ID 2020, and several other partners are working together with homeless people and the service providers who engage with them to develop a blockchain-enabled digital identity platform called MyPass to empower homeless people with their own digital data. Now, I've heard in China that homeless people sit on the floor with a QR code around their neck and you can donate money by scanning to them. This sounds like exactly the same thing. Wow. Now, back when I started talking about this kind of stuff quite openly on Facebook, I was called an idiot, a nutcase, a crazy conspiracy theorist. Yeah, these are all plans, it's science fiction, it's never going to happen. And I said, yeah, it might not happen to us straight away, but I guarantee I know who it will happen to. The poor bastards in developing countries who haven't got the power to resist it because they're already on their knees from government sanctions, debts from economic hitmen, starvation, war-torn countries. They won't have any choice. Well, look what has just happened. Mint Press News, Africa. Africa to become the testing ground for the trust stamp, the vaccine record and payment system. Vaccine record and payment system. So straight off the bat, we've got digital immunity passport, vaccine record, and we've got a payment system in there. The new biometric identity platform partnered with the Gates funded Gavi Vaccine Alliance and MasterCard, there's a new player on the scene, will launch in West Africa and combine COVID-19 vaccinations, cashless payments, and potential law enforcement applications. So there we've got it in writing. That this trust stamp is going to be the technology. It will be applied via a COVID-19 vaccine. That is now been stated. It will involve cashless payments and potential law enforcement capabilities. Whoa, let's just take a minute to think about that. Now, I've heard about the idea of a digital tattoo for ages. Today is the first day I've heard of the name trust stamp. If we go back to December 2019, in an article from Science Alert, the invisible quantum dot tattoo that can be used to ID vaccinate kids. So it's an identification and a vaccination. As we can see here, it has microderm needles that are pressed onto the skin, and it puts an ultraviolet sort of digital smart ink into the skin. Researchers from MIT have the solution. They've created an ink that can be embedded into the skin alongside the vaccine itself. It's only visible using a smartphone, camera app, and a filter. So what are the other applications? In other ways, they found a covert way to embed a record of a vaccination directly into the patient's skin rather than documenting it electronically or on paper. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what a data-enabled vaccine is. Remember, UN Agenda 2030 and the Wuhan Health Organization told us very clearly that the future is data-enabled vaccines. And here is the delivery method. Let's read on. According to Scientific Story, the project came about following a direct request from Microsoft founder Bill Gates himself, who has been personally involved in the efforts to eradicate polio and measles throughout vaccinations. And I would argue his main aim is to eradicate most of the human race. So far, the system is only a proof of concept. So in December 19, they were saying this is a proof of concept. I know for a fact that the EU have just pumped in at least a couple of £1 billion of funding into exactly this, a vaccination delivered by a digital tattoo. So this is one article from 2019. They've mentioned Bill Gates. Hey, let's play devil's advocate. Maybe it's not true. Let's see what else we can find out about the digital tattoo. Now, if anybody watching this video and has heard what I've said and is still thinking, oh, well, if you're a law-abiding citizen, that's okay. This is fine. It'll make our life easier. I'm going to now read further down in the original Mint Press article about what they've just installed they're installing now in Africa. The Trust Stamp biometric identity system, largely funded by the MasterCard massive investment in the company in February, utilises a technology it calls Evergreen Hash that creates an AI-generated 3D mask based on a single photo of a person's face, palm or fingerprints. A single photo of your palm, face or fingerprint. Once this mask is created, much of the original data is discarded and the encryption keys are created in a place of a person's name or other more traditional identifiers. That is weird. One small percentage of the data that originally existed in the hash, Trump Stamp CEO Gareth Garner has stated, what you have is something safer for storing because it can't be used to directly identify you. No one would recognize you from this huge jumble of numbers. The result, according to Jenner, is an irreversibly non-personal identification information system that provides privacy, reduces potential for misuse, and allows effective inclusion where there is no other form of legal record. Jenner also explains in a recent press release that this unique hash is capable of evolving as a new hash with updated health information is created every time a child or individual gets a vaccine. Trust Stamp's AI algorithms can accurately determine if a person's hashes belong to the same individual, meaning that if the hash evolves over time, as you evolve. It's unclear how much of the Wellness Pass initiative is motivated by the health concerns as opposed to free market considerations. Indeed, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates and the Rockefeller Foundation, as well as allied governments and the vaccine industry, is principally concerned with improving the health markets for vaccines and other immunisation products. So this place is saying it straight off the bat, is this technology to look after our health or the commercial health of the medical mafia pirates that are trying to vaccinate 7 billion people? Very interesting. Let's scroll down a little bit more. Dual use tyranny. I like the sound of that. Trust Stamp also shares this market-focused vision for its digital identity systems as the company that stated that it's looking for new commercialization options. So they're not just looking to do this, they're also looking for other commercialization options. For its evergreen hash technology, specifically within prison systems. Talks with the private and public prison systems have revealed an interest in the utilisation of the Trust Stamp technology to provide an identification for individuals on parole, without making them pay for pricey ankle bracelets that monitor their every move. Trust Stamp's platform would ostensibly provide the same functions but in a touchless, less expensive manner. So the people that want to replace ankle bracelets in prison that monitor inmates and convicted criminals are also going to be administering the technology for our digital immunity passport, Trust Stamp. What a name, a Trust Stamp is also blatantly going to be a payment platform for initially people in the third world, but eventually all of us, and a way to access pretty much every government subsidy, service, everything. Now listen to this. The Trust Stamp interest in providing its technology to both the COVID-19 response and to the law enforcement is the part of the growing trend with numerous companies providing digital solutions to COVID-19 that also offer the same solutions to prison systems and law enforcement for the purpose of surveillance and predictive policing. Predictive policing, do you understand what that means? That's Minority Report stuff. That's thought crime, okay? So they're talking about a digital stamp that has nanotechnology embedded in bioink within us, monitoring our health, holding all of our details, reporting back to AI machine-driven infrastructure that is also used by the prison penal system and will be used for predictive policing.
It's double L, you've heard of me, the flow's poison, liquid mercury. Hear my voice when I curse this beat, I let it moisten before surgery. Guilty in charge, repeat offender, for revealing elitist agenda. Still at large, delete the data, success or defeat or retreat or surrender. And I can't let go, killer artist Charlie Hebdo. That's a false flag, actors in tow, and the blame is slow for the media show. 2 weeks later, Copenhagen, could it be baiting these global pagans? These traitors feed off people hating, so nothing's changing. Guilty in charge, repeat offense. My arse is back.